What up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and I am here today, you guys, with a brand new review for Real Housewives of Orange County. This is season number 18, episode number 6. And this episode was titled All Up in Gina's Grill. Now, before we go ahead and get into it, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and you guys aren't subscribed yet, then I'll need you guys to do me a solid. It's all a favor, my bad, you guys. Stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it, you guys. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and also by turning on your post notifications, you guys. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this episode of The Real Housewives of Orange County, shall we? All right, you guys, another good episode of Orange County. I enjoyed this episode. It was a good one. I want you guys to definitely tell me your thoughts, your opinions in the comments and in the live chat if you're joining me. But let's go ahead and start up, you guys. So I guess we'll start up with Heather, should we? Because that's where my notes started. So yeah, we'll start up with Heather. So Heather in this episode, she really didn't have much in this particular scene that we are talking about. So we see Heather, and Heather is meeting up with Emily, right? So they're talking about the night before, and more specifically, they're talking about how with Emily, Emily is just coming so hard against Jen. And I've said it for the last 5 episodes. I still don't understand why Emily is coming so like she's coming guns a blazing at Jen, and it's like, is it envy? Like, what is it? Because I'm not making heads or tails of this whole situation between she and Jen, and it's literally one sided. So she's basically saying that she's doing this is coming because of integrity. And I was like, again, what does that really have to do with you? And she's talking about this Rolex watch that Jen is wearing. Is like, again, what does any of this have to do with you? You look like you're obsessed with this woman because, okay, yeah, let's just say it. She is spending money that she doesn't have, or Ryan is spending money on her. And she isn't, I don't know what to say because I just don't get it. It makes no sense because it ain't got nothing to do with Emily. Emily is just coming off like a hater. That's all I can say is it's very haterish because you can say, oh, it's integrity. Oh, she doesn't do this. Oh, she doesn't do that. Da 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 da. But at the end of the day, how is what Jen is doing? How is anything that she's doing affecting your life? Like it just doesn't make logical sense to me. But hey, it is what it is, right? So then they talk about the situation between Heather, Gina, and Katie, right? I promise you guys, I'm so tired of hearing about this situation with those three. I'm It's not that big of a deal. And the fact that Heather is making it such a big deal, it's like you putting a little bit too much on this. If it weren't real, then just pay it dust. That's my whole thing. If you didn't call the paparazzi, it's not like somebody said you were. I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with a scenario that would be. It's not like somebody said that they saw you out in public with another man that wasn't Terry, and they're alleging that you called the paparazzi on yourself for that to be filmed. Nobody's saying that. So for Heather to just be so worked up about this, it's confusing to me, and I'm not understanding it, or maybe I'm missing something. If I am, y'all tell me in the comments and in the live chat if I'm missing something. But to me, it's really not that deep. But hey, that's really all we got with Heather in this particular episode. One nothing to it. Again, tell me your thoughts and your opinions about it, and we'll go ahead and we'll move on to the next person, you guys. And so the next person that we'll talk about is Jen. So we see Jen. So Jen is on the beach and she's with Tamra, right? I'm still shocked that she's hanging out with Tamra after the way Tamra treated her last season. There would be no way in hell I would want to reconcile with Tamra. But hey, for the sake of this show, I guess you got to do some things that you never thought you would ever do, right? But being cool with Tamra, it just wouldn't be one of the things that's in my book. My nothing wouldn't happen, Captain Jack. No way, no how. So they're talking, right? And they also discussed this whole situation with Emily coming at Jen. Like I said a few minutes ago, I don't understand it because it just gives very much hater vibes. And then Tamra is in this scene talking to Jen, telling her that it was a bit much. And I was like, isn't that a little interesting pot? Me kettle, because you did way too much when it came to Shannon. You guys can feel how you want to feel, but you did the most when it came down to Shannon. You were all up in Shannon's grill about something instead of being a good friend to her. You can feel like she has an alcohol problem, but the way you went about it was just low as hell, right? And so they did talk about that and how do they move forward. So Tamara's whole thing is she's talking about she's upset with Shannon because Shannon is now playing the victim and she doesn't feel like she's doing anything when it comes to her to Tamra alleging that Shannon has a drinking problem, right? Whatever, Shannon. I mean, whatever, Tamra. You can feel however you want to feel. Do I feel like Shannon may have an issue with drinking? I do. But when it comes to an alcoholic, they have to be the one to say, I have an alcohol problem. I want to seek help. Shannon is obviously not at that point. Shannon probably thinks that she can be a functioning person who drinks on occasion, right? But it is what it is, right? I just feel awake with I just really feel awake with Tamara because if you were really a concerned friend, you would have done this off camera. Like I said plenty of times before, when it comes down to Tamara, I really honestly feel like when it comes to Tamara, this is more so a way for Tamara to get her lick back for not being on the show that season that she wasn't on. I really feel like this is her lick back. But hey, again, let me know what you guys think and feel in the comments below. And I guess we'll go ahead and move on to the next person, you guys. So the rest of this episode, it was split up. So the girls were split up. So some of the girls went to Big Bear and some of the girls went to Elizabeth Vargas's home that she's selling, that Gina is selling. So that's what we'll do. We'll split it up. So next we'll talk about Tamra or Gina. I'm not sure where I want to go first. Guess we'll go with Tamra. So Tamra, it like I said, Tamra and some of the girls are going to Big Bear, right? So the girls that went to Big Bear with Tamra was Alexis, of course, Tamra, Katie, and Jen, right? Again, shocked that Jen went, but okay, we're cool with that, right? Now, all the girls met up at Tamra's house. And here's the thing that I want to say real quick, and we're gonna get it out the way. Well, it's gonna come back up a little bit later in episode 2. Alexis. Alexis. You look desperate. You look thirsty. You look delusional, all behind John Jansen. And all I can do is laugh at Alexis because I'm like, girl, you're basically doing his dirty work. And like I said last week about Alexis, my thing with Alexis is if he did this to Shannon, who he was in a relationship with for some years, what makes you think that he wouldn't do the same thing to you if you guys break up with each other? Like, why do you think that you're special? So she's doing all this defending John, and it's like, Alexis, you haven't even been with this man for that long for you to be up his behind just caping for him. Like, you got on this cape for John, and I just don't understand why you're going so hard for him, right? It makes no sense. Yeah, you can have an issue with Shannon. I would have, if Alexis had came in this season and just said, I don't like Shannon because of this and because of that. Every time Alexis talks about Shannon, John's name is mentioned as a result of her issue with Shannon. So you don't really have an issue with Shannon. You have an issue with you have an issue because John has a quote unquote issue with Shannon. And I don't even think he has an issue with Shannon. I think that this is all something that was manufactured and set up. I really truly do. But like I said, the fact that she is just going so hard for him is like, shut up. So then we get to Tamra's house in Big Bear. Nice house, right? They renovated the house. Really looks good. They found that she has a leak in her roof, right? So the women are Katie has her own room. Then she put Alexis and Jen in the room together. And she says that the reason that she put Alexis and Jen together is because Jen doesn't talk. And then with Alexis just doesn't shut the fuck up. So it's a even pair for both of those two, right? So then after they got to the house, they did go on the slopes. That looked fun. Not necessarily something that I think I would personally do, but it looked very fun. So Alexis called John on the phone. And this is more so speaking toward the desperation, the thirstiness when it comes to Alexis. Like, girl, you just got with this man a few months ago. Like, you can't go a day without having a conversation with him. And she's talking about him sleeping alone and alluding to their sex life. I was like, I could have done without hearing about that, but okay, share more information, I guess, right? But like I said, this is more of why I think she is desperate, thirsty, and delusional. So then after that, we see as the ladies they went to dinner, right? Before I even get to that point, Tamara, you're so messy because you're talking about John. Eddie loves him, you like him, and he's a lot lighter now that he lost that 150 pounds that was on him. Talking about Shannon, and it's like, again, if Shannon was ever your real friend, the way that you talk cash money shit about her is astounding to me. And you also notice Tamara has no storyline this season. Tamara's storyline is Shannon. Like, if it wasn't for Shannon, Tamara wouldn't have anything else to talk about. Because what has Tamara talked about in the 6 episodes that we've saw that didn't involve Shannon Bedore's name? That's right, nothing. The only scene that we got that didn't involve Shannon was with her daughter, who also didn't seem like she wanted to be in that scene with Tamara. That is it. So, like I said, they went to dinner, and Katie was talking to the girls about how she feels when it comes to this situation with Gina, and how she feels that Gina just kind of basically threw her under the bus and left her to fend for herself, right? What I will say is I'm starting to kind of think a little deep into this when it comes to this situation with Gina and Katie, right? I'm wondering when it comes down to Gina and Katie, I'm wondering, did Gina say something to Katie about not Tamara, but about Heather? Like, I'm wondering that. I'm wondering if Gina was behind the scenes talking shit about Heather, and we just don't know that. Would be interesting to see. Now, Tamara, however, feels that um, Gina threw Katie under, set her up. I was like, it pot me kettle because you do the same thing to your supposed friends. But okay, set yourself off, go off, right? So after they left dinner, they went back to Tamara's crib, and they now I didn't find this funny as funny as Tamara found it funny. Her having Jen put her feet in the pie, talking about she can do OnlyFans for money. It's like, my God. I was even with Jen in her interview, like, you can't say real estate, a podcast. You go, your initial reaction is to go straight to doing OnlyFans. Okay, Tamara, I see you and whatever, right? So once again, Alexis, girl, like I said a few minutes ago, your only and true issue with Shannon is John. Shannon ain't done nothing to you. So I don't know why you have this venom and vitriol for her when She's done absolutely nothing to you. It's so weird to me. So then Alexis wants to say that there's a video of Shannon when she went to John's house the night of her DUI, and that if I guess Shannon keeps bad mouthing John, that she'll release the video footage, and it's like, again, how does that affect you? And I was so glad when Jen called her out. Like, if you're talking about you want to be cool with Shannon, but then you do all this sneaky underhanded shit that's not wanting to be friendly with the woman. Please don't bring Alexis back for the season 19. Like, for the love of God, don't bring her back. But that's it, you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about that scene, and then we'll move on and wrap up. All right, you guys. So we're gonna wrap it up with Gina. So Gina is also having a trip with the girls, and on her trip is going to be she, Emily, Shannon, and Heather. Now, before we get to that, we saw her as she was out with Katie, right? And so Gina was saying to Katie that the day before at the party that Katie seemed very distant. And I was like, I would imagine she would if she feels like you and I had a conversation about Heather and then you completely defend Heather over me. Of course I would be a little bit distant. I'm like, that's why I also say I feel that Gina may have probably said more than what Gina is letting on. But we'll get to Gina a little bit later in this. So they also talked about some other stuff, right? So Gina was telling actually Shannon showed up with them, right? So Shannon let them know that she got a letter from an attorney and they're asking for the $75,000 from John plus interest. And I was like, I know you fucking lying. Interest? This is why I say I think that this is a scheme. I just don't buy this. I think that Alexis and John were thirsty enough to be on this show, and so they were going to do whatever they could to make sure that they could get on. Because really, $75,000 plus interest. Oh God, oh God. John is a piece of shit. That's all I gotta say, right? But Shannon said that the thing that was the most hurtful for her, which floored her, was this stuff with Tamra, which I'm still like, I don't know why you so floored because it's Tamra that we're talking about. And I've said it plenty of times before that Tamra is a friend to nobody. That is exactly what I feel. Tamra is nobody's friend. If y'all on the show together, she ain't your friend. So that goes for Shannon and for Jen. Tamra ain't your friend, right? So we find out that this is the point where we find out that Gina is going to be going to Elizabeth Vargas's home. Now, the thing that I was so confused about with them talking about Elizabeth in this episode, I was puzzled by the fact that they kept talking about Elizabeth, but they were talking about Elizabeth in the sense that we don't know who Elizabeth is. If you guys have been watching OC for any length of time, you guys remember Elizabeth. Elizabeth was a one season wonder housewife, right? Elizabeth came on season, so we're on season 18. So she was, oh God, how many seasons ago was it that she was on? Because she was a season before Noella, and Noella was a season before Jen came on, and Jen now is on her second season, right? So Jen came on last season, so that was season 17. So I think Noella was season 16, and I think Elizabeth was season 15. If I'm wrong, you guys definitely feel free to correct me, but I think I think that's it. But it was just blowing me that they were talking about her as if we ain't never saw this woman, we ain't never met this woman. But okay, if that's how we gonna do this, then that's how we gonna do it, right? But Elizabeth is selling her home. That now I don't know if this is the home that she got from her divorce, but suffice it to say, Elizabeth, yep, season 15. But yeah, Elizabeth is selling her home. So the girls are going to be going up there for the weekend, and we're going to see how that plays out. Now, Katie let them know that she wasn't going to be going with them because she was going to go to Big Bear with Tamra. So confused why she went with Tamra. But hey, it is what it is. Hey, Miss AKA 1908. You say this episode had a lot of moving parts, but it was good. It did have a lot of moving parts, and I enjoyed it. So, Gina, Heather, Emily, and Shannon, like I said, they're going to go to Elizabeth's house again. I'm still hella confused why they talked about Elizabeth as if we don't know who Elizabeth is. Now, granted, Elizabeth was boring. I found Elizabeth quite boring her season of Real Housewives of Orange County because she didn't bring anything. But there was also a COVID season, so she couldn't really bring much. But I was just so confused why they were playing like we don't know who Elizabeth Vargas is. I was so confused. Neither here nor there, right? What I did find a little funny in this scene was Miss AK says, I don't think she could give much because of the divorce. That is true. She couldn't give much because of the divorce, but my God, why did they cast her? Like, I still don't understand why they cast Elizabeth. Because Elizabeth, everything that they asked her, she couldn't talk about. And it's like, my God, girl. I think, wait, she was under, that's right. Elizabeth was under a gag order too, if I'm not mistaken. I believe she's under a gag order. Hell, they could have kept Bronwyn for that case. Man, as much I know people can't stand Bronwyn, but I think that they should have kept Bronwyn because the season that they let Bronwyn go is when she came out with her girlfriend, and I would have loved to. Although I wasn't the biggest fan of Bronwyn, I would have loved to saw the dynamic between that relationship with her ex-husband and her girlfriend. I would have loved to know if they were all living under the same roof together with all them kids. That's neither here nor there. I was just a little sidetracked, right? So all the girls met up at no, they didn't. What happened is Emily went to go get Gina in Shane's truck. Shane told Emily not to eat in his truck. I was thinking to myself, like, Shane, that's her. That is Emily's stick, eating, and that's exactly what they did. They ate in the damn car, right? Because she went and got Gina, then she went and got Heather and Shannon, who came with a miniature grill, some beans, some no one beans. It was chili. Came with a lot of stuff, right? Then they stopped at Jack in the Box and got some food. I was like, I knew that they were gonna eat in your car. Miss AK said she had a lot going on. Are we talking about Bronwyn or Elizabeth or both? Because they both had a lot going on. Probably Bronwyn. Probably Bronwyn. So again, I have it in my notes. Why are we acting like Elizabeth was never a housewife? Like I was confused. And then I looked at that flashback and Gina, I was like, my God, I forgot. No, I didn't. I was about to say I forgot how bad Gina's extensions looked at one point, but my God, they should have never shown that flashback in Gina. Shane knew better. He did. I mean, that is Emily's thing. What season was that where she went to the was that season 15 or 16 when they were supposed to be working out and she had some food when they were working out. I can't remember which season that was. I think it was 16 when Noella came on. That is her thing that she loves to eat. But it is what it is, right? So they took a tour of Elizabeth's house. I will say the house was nice. Elizabeth's house was nice. The koi pond, I'm not somebody that would be interested in a koi pond, but I was like, okay, Elizabeth. I wouldn't mind. Would I mind Elizabeth coming back if she could talk about her life? Maybe if she could talk about her life. See, I think Bravo didn't give Elizabeth a fair shake, and I don't think that they gave Noella a fair shake because Noella and Sweet James and all that stuff with them. Man, I wanted another season of Noella. Uh, hey, Telly shit, how you doing today? Miss AKA says when she was eating in the spa or the sauna. It was a sauna. It was the sauna that I'm thinking about when she was eating because I was so confused. I just all she that is Emily's thing is to eat. But have if Emily likes it, I love it, right? So Gina, before they got there, Gina was starting to question, like, why am I going to Elizabeth's house when she's trying to sell Elizabeth's house and she has staged Elizabeth's home, right? So she's worried that something might happen. And lo and behold, when they got there, they spilled stuff on the carpet, they spilled stuff on the floor. I think there was a cutting board that Shannon found that had some mold on it. I was like, ugh. I was like, ugh. Mold on a cutting board? That means you ain't cleaning. Miss AK says, I wouldn't mind her back if she would open up. Yeah. But I thought about it. I think she was under a gag order that season. And I think that's why she couldn't, especially speak on a divorce. Uh, at Paprika SMR, how are you doing today? You said, I feel bad for Noella. She lost everything. Yeah, I did feel bad for Noella. I really did feel bad for her. That's why my motto is when it comes to women, I'm all here for women being with the man for money, right? I'm out here for it. I don't have a judgment about it, but my thing is always make sure that you have a way to sustain your lifestyle if that man ends up leaving you. That's what I always say. Be able to take care of you, yourself, and if you got kids, be able to take care of all of you together aside from that man. Like it's fine to be with a man for money. It's cool. I don't have a problem with it. Get your money, sis. But the smart thing to do is when if he gives you money as an quote unquote, I'm using air quotes as an allowance, baby, store that and take some of that money, put it in an account that he don't know nothing about. And then when it comes down to when it comes down to stuff that you want, make him spend his money on you and be like, oh, just be smart about what you do, right? That's all I ever say when it comes to women. Again, like I said, I have no problem with a woman being with a man for money. Just make sure that you are financially stable because most times they will leave you for a younger, better model. That's all I say. But yeah, I definitely felt bad. I felt bad for Noella that season. Oh God, I really felt bad for Noella, but I liked Noella as well because I liked the fact that Noella did not back down to Heather. Loved it. I loved it. Ms. AKA says, I've been married for over 23 years and I have a savings account. Amen. 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 Like, it's okay. Like I say, it's okay to have your husband, do stuff for you. Just make sure that if he leaves you, not saying that he would, and it's just for any woman, not saying that any woman's husband would leave them, but just be able to say, okay, we don't know what the future holds, right? And this man could we could get to 40, 50 years of marriage, and this man found a younger mom to be like, oh, I want a divorce from you today. And then you be ass out. That's all I'm saying. So after them tearing up that house, good luck, Gina, with selling that house. So we see as Shannon and Emily were sitting outside. Now, as much as I love my girl Shannon, I was kind of looking at Shannon with a little bit of a side eye because I was like, "Oh, Shannon, you being messy," but I was here for it, right? So Shannon told Emily that when she was with Gina last, that Gina was talking about how she feels that Emily is changing with the friendship with Tamra. And also, Jen had told Tamra that as well. And I actually agree with all of them. I do feel that Emily is changing with this friendship with Tamra because, again, like I've said numerous times in my reviews, I still don't understand this venom and this vitriol that Emily now has for Jen. It feels like she is envious of that woman. And let me say this: there's not much to be envious of Jen of. No shade to Jen, but you're a 40-year-old woman who has depended on other people to take care of you your entire life. That's not necessarily something I would be envious of. Just saying. So it just feels like it's hatred and it's very mean spirited coming from Emily, right? So Emily got in her feelings about it, and I was like, "But Emily, you are acting a bit more like Tamra these days. Like you are literally Tamra 2.0, in my opinion. You guys tell me what you think, right?" So Gina is asking Emily, like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" She kept asking her that, and Emily would never say anything. So then they went outside to eat, and so eventually Emily says, you know, she didn't say what Shannon said, but Shannon said, "No, that's not what I said." Because Emily said, not Emily, Gina said, "That's not what I said." And she said, and she looked at Shannon, and Shannon said, "No, I didn't say that. I said that she said you changed." And so then Heather chimes in and says, "Well, it's not that she's changed, it's that you've changed, and you've changed because of your friendship with Katie." I was like, "Oh my God, I know that we're not talking about this Katie situation again. My God, it's stupid." Ms. AK says Shannon stirred the pot to keep the conversation off of her. I agree. You also say, "Emily, I get it, but let it the F go." In Jen's defense, "I have a Rolex. It will stop working if you don't wear it. I keep mine on a watch winder." I didn't understand why she was so upset about the watch either, because it was like so weird. And it doesn't work. I was like, okay, like you do realize watches run on a battery, right? Maybe her battery went out and she ain't got it changed yet. I don't know. Emily is so obsessed at this point. Ms. AK says, "I don't like when Emily is being passive aggressive towards Gina." And that's exactly what she was doing in this whole entire scene. She was being passive aggressive towards Gina. And I ain't the biggest Gina fan, but damn, you could have told Gina, like, Shannon just told me something that, I want to clear up when we go back outside. She could have said that, or hell, at that time, Shannon was in the kitchen. You could have said, "Me and Shannon just had a conversation, and what Shannon told me, I'm not happy about." And just like they cleared it up right there at that table, Shannon said, "That's not what I said. I said that she said that you changed." But like I said, then it brought a Heather to this whole situation with Katie, right? Now, what I will say is I believe Katie when it comes to this whole thing with her and Gina, because Gina's saying that she called Katie 10 minutes later to tell her, "Oh, oh, really? I've never wore a Rolex watch before, so I didn't know that. It doesn't run on the battery, it runs by motion." Okay. I never knew that. You learn something new every day. Because I'm not a big watch person. I've never been a watch person. I now currently wear an Apple Watch, and that it's a lot for me to even wear this. So I never knew that. Learn something new. But I still don't understand why she's so obsessed. I still don't get why she's so obsessed about the damn Rolex watch. But going back to what I was saying a minute ago, when it comes to Katie, I believe Katie as opposed to Gina. I don't think Gina called her 10 minutes later. I believe Katie that she probably called her weeks later when I believe a lot of this stuff probably happened before filming even started taking place. When it comes down to Heather and this whole paparazzi thing, talking about her kids were affected by it, girl, how were your kids affected by the paparazzi? Now, I get that your kids might have been affected by the rumor that something was wrong in your marriage. I get that. But this whole paparazzi thing, you putting 20 on 10 and doing the most. And even Gina didn't call it out in this scene. Gina called it out in her interview with the producers. I was like, "Gina, grow some balls and say it to Heather that, Heather, you're doing the most. I wasn't talking about you. I wasn't talking like this has not. This is not about you. This is like you're comparing what Shannon did to me and my kids talking about CPS. You're comparing that to you. It's apples and it's oranges." I wish Gina had said that in that scene, but she didn't. But Heather was like, "You know what? They can move forward from it." I was like, "Girl, it ain't. It was never that deep." I honestly think when it came down to Katie, I think with Katie, it was just more so like a tee hee hee thing instead of it being as big. I think it was just a tee hee hee thing. I honestly really do. But let's keep this in the back of our minds. When it comes down to the Katie thing and them bringing it up on camera, what happening was, I also think that yes, Gina may have done something behind the scenes, but I also know Tamra was stirring the pot and trying to wind her up like one of those little toys, wind Katie up like one of those little toys, and playing pot stir. So whatever. But that was the episode, you guys. Let me get to these comments and then we'll wrap it up. That's why it's on a winder. I wear my Apple Watch too. Yeah, I'm an Apple Watch person these days. Anything else, I ain't really feeling it. You say, I believe Katie as well, but I don't like Tamra gaslighting her. Yeah, that's typical Tamra. Typical Tamra. But yeah, you guys, that was the episode of this episode of Orange County. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Overall, good episode. I liked it. Be sure you guys to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn your post notifications on, you guys. Share the video, and until the next time, you guys, stay safe, take care of yourselves, wash your hands, be blessed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.